right.
Oh, it's fantastic. Funk Wednesday. Never mind Hump Wednesday.
No one calls it that because it's lame.
Since when?
Since always.
Really?
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Anne Riley, I feel like we could set our clock by you. I like that. So, what are you laughing at?
You've got your empty cup.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I learned a good lesson yesterday. I really wanted you to see the inside of my Emily Williams Wheeler mug, and, you know, I tried and failed twice yesterday, dumping tea all over the floor. So here's the inside. Isn't that so cute? It's like little buttons, kind of. I don't know. I just love it. And this little squiggly black line, that is such a hallmark of Emily's work. So, again, I posted yesterday her site, but you can find her at Emily Williams Wheeler. And I hope that you will check her stuff out, and don't just check it out, buy it, because, you know, it's important to be supporting local artists. Sorry, I have to grab my teapot. They have not been very much part of all of the bailout money because they are independent contractors. So lots of the rest of us have gotten help in various ways, and they kind of have not. So if you can support local artists, that would be great. This is also a scarf. Who knew I was going to double duty again today? But see this beautiful scarf? This is from an artist who used to live in town, Suzanne Williams. Her company is Willy Nilly. She made beautiful leather purses. She and her family now live in Nebraska, I think. But I think she's still doing work, so you could look up Willy Nilly too. I love this scarf. And then just because if Sandy is watching, she will definitely notice and comment. I want to point out I got dressed first. I did not go to spin today because I'm sick again. But really, this is a little beyond the pale. It's like wearing a uniform. This is not the Daily Dose uniform. So
It's very autumnal.
yeah, wrong time of year. The whole thing is kind of embarrassing, but I refuse
Dana and I
to
are
change
actually
my
going to a
clothes.
Bonspiel later on today.
That's going to mean nothing to most people. I think it's a curling thing,
It is
right?
a curling thing.
Okay.
A gathering of curlers
Hot dog.
who also dress the same.
Well, because they're wearing uniforms. Everyone who wears uniforms dresses the same.
And Canadians.
Stop. So, today we're talking about Dry January. We haven't come up with a good name for Wednesday yet. I don't even remember what it used to be called before we did non-alcoholic holiday drinks, which, by the way, I'm a little sad to be done with. So maybe we'll have to periodically do more non-alcoholic drinks because that was very fun.
That was fun. Make a comment below if you want to see more non-alcoholic drinks.
Look at you getting all demandy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Almost professionally done, that one. Good God.
Anyway, I don't remember what Wednesdays used to be called, but we don't have a new word yet. So Wednesdays are going to have something to do with content that we have read or seen or watched that we want to talk about with you. So what are we talking about today, Dr. Mary?
We're going to discuss Dry January.
Did you know Dry January was started in England? I did not.
Pros and cons. And just
Well, maybe not pros and cons as much as just motivation behind it.
yeah, and some things to think about.
Yeah, so we read 2 articles. One is called Doing Dry January. Here are 11 things you should know before starting. And the second one is called If You're Trying, where's the title?
Yeah.
If you're trying Dry January, you probably have a drinking problem, which is a pretty bold statement, but you know, whatever. It's kind of an interesting idea. So I think the interesting thing around Dry January is that it has become really, really popular to say, oh, I'm practicing Dry January, hashtag Dry January, blah, 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 blah. And you see it all over social media. And I am curious if any of you practice it, why you practice it. I don't practice it. Although I have thought about it because it feels now like, well, it's January. We should, what are those things called that people do in January? You know, where you set your, like your intentions for the year. It starts with an R.
Resolution.
Resolutions, thank you. Or you make your vision boards, or you don't drink for a month, or all these things that are now kind of built into the month. So I have thought about it, but really, I mean, I haven't had any alcohol now for weeks, and so dry January seems kind of silly to me. For me,
I can guarantee you mine will be very successful.
I can guarantee that as well. At least so far.
Yeah.
6 days in, dry as a bone. Me too.
It's been a good year so far.
But what about this idea of if you're trying dry January, you probably have a drinking problem? Do you have a thought on that?
It's a very interesting article. The author made a very good point, and he quoted someone.
She.
I do.
She is a she.
I do apologise wholeheartedly.
Chelsea Flood.
Chelsea Flood. I'm very sorry. I didn't see that bit. I very quickly read this morning. Chelsea made a very good article, and she quoted someone from the University of York who said that dry January is geared towards people who are actually at most heavy moderate drinkers. If you're a heavy drinker, trying dry January would probably, you'll end up in a hospital.
You could.
You could actually, if you actually drink enough that you go cold turkey and then start withdrawal symptoms, you could be in a world of hate.
As could the people around you.
Yes.
So, you know, I think part of what makes this conversation interesting for us is that we aren't trying to get necessarily to the person who's already up and instead of drinking mint tea or coffee has alcohol in a mug or glass. We've talked about that a lot. So this is really more for social drinkers, but a social drinker is a huge gray area. You could have been considered a social drinker, probably not by intake of alcohol, but by your ability to function socially, sort of. I mean, I think your ability to function socially was highly called into question often, but you were still able to operate. You know,
I mean, it does. What I especially this second article from Chelsea Flood, she does address this, and she did come. She did. She's actually been sober for 5 years, so congratulations to you. But she did mention that, you know, a lot of people, when as soon as January the 31st rolls around, and this is actually what happens in rehab too. Even when people, a lot of people actually celebrate getting their 1 year sobriety chip by saying, I'm cured, and then they go drinking. And then they end up mostly in a hospital.
Yeah.
Because she did mention the fact that even within a month, the tolerance that you had, even as a moderate drinker, would be gone. And then as soon as you start going, I'm going to crack open a bottle of wine, you will probably get drunk very quickly. And when you get drunk and get a little buzz going, what you usually do, especially if you're in a good mood at the time, is you continue to drink.
I have to be really honest. I don't know what it means to be buzzed. I don't ever feel a difference if I'm drinking wine between sober, starting a glass of wine, and then immediately having a headache. And I think it's because I don't think my body tolerates any alcohol very well at all. And as I'm getting older, it's becoming less and less tolerant to it. And I didn't really realize that was a thing that could happen to people because I know so little about alcohol. But I have never been in that state of, oh, this is a happy place with alcohol. If I'm drinking wine, I'm just drinking wine. And then I often will end up with a kind of low-grade headache, and then I'm done. And mostly I quit before that. But if I have a little bit too much wine, I will end up with that headache thing. I don't know what it means to be buzzed. That place people talk about where they're really relaxed and they feel happy but not inhibited. You know, I don't have any idea what that feeling is.
I remember that. I mean, just bear in mind, I'm the alcoholic here. But I remember a time when I wasn't an alcoholic and actually enjoyed drinking and had a buzz because I didn't do it all the time. And when you did it as a special occasion. Because, and I was thinking about this is when I was an undergrad, which, as the years go by, was tragically 30 years ago.
But you could be dead, so there's no reason to say tragically.
But I remember that feeling. It was people's birthday parties, and it was special. It was fun. But then you stop. Then you quit. You know, for weeks afterwards, you didn't. You may have had a drink in that time, and that's probably that is, you know, safe, moderate drinking.
Yeah, I'm curious to know if anybody watching can explain that buzzed feeling to me, because I've certainly read about it, but it is just not an experience I've ever had, which is why I think I drink so little, because I know that for many people, they drink because it relaxes them or it makes them feel less uptight or less anxious or whatever you need. For me, for good or for bad, I don't need that. If I walk into a room, I trust that I'm supposed to be in the room and I just show up and I'm there, and I'm not more or less fun with alcohol. In fact, I would say
remembering everything you've done is actually a wonderful feeling.
Do you have periods that you don't remember,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Not proud of them at all, but I do.
I do not.
So Chelsea's article was very interesting. She actually brought up the idea of, you know, people just do it as a fad. Mm-hmm. And it could actually be a warning sign if you want to brag about it so much. You know, if you want to brag about not drinking, go to an AA meeting and get a sobriety chip. Which I actually completely agree with. I love those things. I mean, like I said last week, I'm kind of sad I might not be getting my 4-year one on time.
Yeah.
I know that's kind of, let's talk about that. There's other things
That's all
we can
right.
worry about. But the other article, the first article...
Doing Dry January. Here are 11 things you should know before starting, by Erin Bunch.
Yes. Now, her number one of the 11 things was actually quite interesting. There are incredible health benefits to drinking less. I'm not on about, obviously I'm a lot healthier now as I'm an alcoholic enjoying sobriety, but even if you just go through... If
you're just a somewhat regular casual drinker.
Things like your liver fat content will actually be reduced by anywhere between 20 and 40%. That's because you're metabolizing cholesterol better. So you're actually, there's two types of cholesterol. I won't bore everyone with it. You know, there's the light one and the heavy one, or the good one or the bad one, depending on whatever way you learn about it or think about it. But your light or good cholesterol would actually improve. Sometimes, though, your bad cholesterol will increase. So if you actually stop drinking, you should get both of your cholesterol levels checked, because if you have a history of heart disease in your family too, having a drastic increase in bad cholesterol, even though your body's reducing good cholesterol, can actually can set up a perfect storm that may cause a heart attack if you're very unlucky. But you will, your blood sugar level will naturally even out. People who drink heavily, it does put a lot of strain in your liver and your body's ability to make insulin. So if you're actually on a borderline of just making enough insulin to get by, you put a lot of strain in yourself. So that will improve. You'll obviously sleep better, and I can attest to the fact that I've been enjoying almost 4 years of great sleep.
Well, and I can tell you, and maybe I've said this before, but if I drink red wine in particular, I know I'm not sleeping through the night. I absolutely
And yeah, I mean,
cannot
it's not
do
like
it.
you
And it's not, I'm not saying a bottle of red wine. I'm saying a glass of red wine.
A glass of red wine,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you feel the effect.
One thing I thought was kind of fun, and it's almost time to wrap up, is that she talks about mocktails. So, you know, you can go back and look at all of the drinks that we
Yeah.
made. I'm not advocating that you drink the hot cocoa or the eggnog on a regular basis because you'll have a heart attack and die. So you may as well drink alcohol
I just
at that
talked
point.
about cholesterol.
Yeah,
there, so.
but the other drinks are certainly things you could drink a lot. I was shocked, and of course I won't be able to find this now, but was shocked to hear that the average person who drinks socially spends 2 years of their life hungover. Think about that. 2 years. I say no thanks to that.
Erin did also bring up, you know, what you could do. I mean, people meet for drinks. You can meet for non-alcoholic drinks. You can
Or meet for a walk.
meet
or
for a
meet
walk,
for,
or go to a movie.
Yeah,
or,
yoga.
you know, there
yeah.
are incredibly fun things to drink that don't have any alcohol. And Betsy Birmingham told me that, who was our guest last week on Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, and she was absolutely right. There's a lot of fun stuff. I remember watching. We were in Montreal. We watched the men's World Cup final. I had a
France, Croatia, in a bar filled with French and Croatian people. It was amazing.
I had 4 virgin pina coladas and a plate of fries, and I thought I had a great time.
It was incredibly fun. Yes. So we will link these 2 articles because I think they're really interesting and worth reading and considering. Whether you're pursuing dry January or not, you probably know someone who is. So it's just more food for thought. Maybe that's what Wednesdays will be. Food for thought Wednesday.
That's brilliant.
I must be a writer. All right. Happy Wednesday.
Have a great
Tomorrow,
day.
Patty Sen is joining us. She is a addiction counselor. So I'm really looking forward to having our conversation with Patty because her perspective will be so insightful and different from anyone else we've talked to.
And heavens, if you planned dry January, enjoy it. We're not trying to be negative about it. Just
Absolutely.
just think about it, but enjoy it and make note of any benefits that you feel.
Yes. Have a great day.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.